Hi, this is Anne and I'm back again to give you this tutorial how to use watercolors and ink pen to create this painting of red flowers on a vine. I'm gonna start with giving you a picture of the watercolor paper I'm using, and here is the supply list. Please take a screenshot and you can see all the details. Again, I'm not using any reference photo here, so you're gonna see that I'm just doing a very simple sketch of the vine and where I'm gonna place the main flowers. I'm not gonna go into details because I want you to see that you can have fun, you can be loose and you can be creative and you can add things as the painting progresses. If you use a reference photo, be careful not to get stuck in the details and trying to be perfect. At some point, put that photo away and try to paint your own impression of it. And paint the things that you loved about that photo. And here I'm doing a simple color chart. It's kind of a color scheme that I'm going to be using for the main part of the painting, and I will be adding more colors in it and darker colors as I go. But this gives you idea how I go about selecting colors, nice combinations, colors that are in the same family, and colors that will deliver what I want to do with this painting. Some colors on the list are pure and some are already mixed from two different paints. So here I go. I'm gonna start painting with using my large Chinese paintbrush, and it's beautiful because you can use the side of it and you can just have fun painting and swirling the brush around, but then it comes to a lovely, very small point if you need to do any kind of fine lines and fine detail, as you can see I'm doing here. I'm going to slow down and some of the parts of this demo, and because it took me about 7 hours to paint this painting, and I don't want to have this video to be that long, so I'm speeding it up, but for the important things I'll slow down. You're going to see that I'm painting flowers and stems and leaves at the same time, trying to keep everything wet as long as I can so that the colors can melt with each other. And this offers that beautiful effect that only watercolors can give. For my painting today, I had decided that the light source comes from the top left of the painting. So I have to take this under consideration as I paint. The darkness in the flowers and leaves should be underneath, and there should be more transparency on the petals and reflections of the light on the leaves, on the direction of the light, as you can see. In my process of painting flowers, I leave areas that are lighter and darker, and that will give that illusion of petals, which I then separate with my ink pen work. I also, as I add leaves here, I'm not afraid to touch the red with the green, but I don't touch all the way, just in a little spots here and there, so that the colors can melt together. And furthermore, I leave a lot of light areas wide of the paper in between the petals of the flowers and also in the leaves, and that gives that spark that like the light is playing in the flowers and in the petals. And this helps me not to have to use any of the masking fluid. I just go around and the white of the paper and leave it be. I'm making a painting with lots of flowers. You want to have a little bit of variety, which means darkness and lights, different sizes, making the flowers opening different directions. Some are open to the viewer, some are reaching for the sun, and some flowers are actually you are looking at them from behind. And then you have buds and open flowers, and that gives a really interesting variety visually for the painting. There are so many things to consider when you are creating a painting. And just to add one more is that when you look at the light source, you want to have the flowers and the leaves that are closest to the sun and more exposed to the sun have the warmer colors, and then the flowers and the leaves that are in the shadows, they should be darker, they should be a little bit colder colors. Here is a good example of the variety of values I put in one flower alone. And then I put the center, I have left it white, and I put the yellow in it, and the yellow is so strong color that it pushes the red aside as it spreads, and it just gives that wonderful wild effect. With leaves, it's good to try to leave the white of the paper showing where the veins of the leaves are. It adds to the realism and make the leaves look like they are truly leaves. And here I go and I drop a little bit of blue and the yellow into the leaves, so you get a lot of variety, and it also kind of brings the leaves and the flowers together when they have the similar tones in them. In that leaf on the left, I also dropped some just clear water on the top part there. You can see it's lighter, and that will burst out the color and leave the leaf in that area lighter, and that will make it look like the sun is reflecting off of that leaf. Here I think I did it also on that leaf. It eventually will get lighter in that spot. In this painting, the vine is growing and coming down from the right top side of the paper. So I'm also painting flowers and leaves that are going off the paper in that area, so it looks more realistic. And now, for a while, I'm gonna let you watch me using all those techniques I've been talking about. Now that I'm starting to paint the branches of the vine, I want to point out a few things. First of all, the branches that come from the top part should be thicker than the ones that in the end that goes into the buds. So make sure that if you paint branches, always be mindful to make them progressively get thinner and thinner towards the flowers and very ends of the branches. And also I do leave white of the paper showing on the branches too. That adds into the sparkle again. I like to paint my branches kind of rugged and rough with lots of bends and twists in them, and the little branches growing out of them and twigs. I'm now moving to paint the flowers that are behind the main flowers, and instead of drawing or painting a background for this painting, I'm using these flowers to provide the background. Painting flowers in the background like this will also provide the painting nice depth and dimension. To make these flowers look like they are truly behind these main flowers in the background, I'm using much lighter colors and also cooler colors. I'm painting them so that they are in between the main flowers, but I'm being mindful not to cover all the white of the paper. They will also have much less detail in them, not to take the attention away from the main flowers. Time to do the fun part of the painting, where you can splash the color around. You will see me using some darker colors and also the pink and the light green colors, which I maybe mostly use into the white areas of the paper. I splatter all around the leaves and the flowers. It makes this painting kind of look alive and bursting of just beauty. Just be mindful not to overdo the spots. If you do too many of them, the painting becomes just too busy. I'm now adding some darkness into the center of some of the flowers, and that adds into the glow that you see in the very, very center of the flower. Then I'm gonna go in and paint the stamens, I think they call them, the ones that have all the pollen in the flowers. Adding final few details before I draw or paint the stamens, and make sure that the painting has to be all dry, so I use a hairdryer. So I came to the end of painting with watercolors, and I'm starting to use my fine point ink pen. And as I do this, I want to give you some of the pointers and principles that I go by while I do this fine line work. I use only waterproof ink pens, and mostly I keep it at 0.05 thickness. Sometimes for the darker parts I have to use maybe 0.1 or 0.2, but I never go beyond that. The lines have to look very delicate and not overbearing, otherwise it will just take away from the beauty of the painting. I do outline a lot of the details, but I do not outline everything. All the splatter that I do, the little spots outside, I outline all that. And as I go, it does look like I am outlining everything, but I am making decisions, as you can see right here, that where some of the buds are, where are leaves. I don't just go without thinking and outline everything. I do like to leave some of the beautiful effects that the watercolor had when it bursts outwards, and just I don't cover everything, but this really helps when I do the flowers. I can now separate the petals, and before it looked kind of like a big mess, not understanding where the petals are in the flower, but this will help me to be able to define and give some clarity into my painting, so that the viewer can actually see where everything is. And for the background flowers in behind the lighter flowers, I don't do as many details. I might do just one petal or something, but I just leave them less detailed. This fine line work helps you to bring out the colors. It enhances the colors, and it brings out all the white areas that you leave as you paint all these flowers and leaves. You can see them very clearly once you outline them with the ink. And I'm going to leave you now to just watch while I do this line work and make all my decisions where I draw leaves and how I separate the petals. I'm coming to the end of my ink work here, and I'm gonna sign this painting. It's all done. I'm gonna let you see a close-up view of the painting and examine all the what I call the delicious details. I want to thank you for staying all the way to the end of this painting, and I encourage you to send me comments and input on how to maybe improve these tutorials so that you can get more out of it. And also I'd like to hear from you. Give me any comments or any questions that you might have. You can send me a message or just put it in the comments here. And I wish you happy painting, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.